This is a Flying Cow production.
Well, hello and welcome back to the Great Film Challenge. I, of course, am your host, Clay Johnson, the Flying Cow himself, and here with me, as always, is my nephew, Aaron. Aaron, how you doing today, buddy?
Good.
Good.
My weekend just started. Yay.
Yay. And you didn't burn your belly?
No.
Well, that's good. It's always nice to hear that you did not burn your belly. Sorry for that random reference to something that no one has any idea what we're talking about. We were just about to start recording, and right outside the room, my sister, Aaron's mother, was complaining to her daughter because something happened and it caused her to burn her belly. We don't know the full context.
It's a sunburn. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, I will say a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. This is coming out right just 1 week after our review of Jaws. So,
Yes.
very quick, but I think it's actually been about a month since the last time that
Has
we
it really?
recorded. It's been pretty close.
Dang.
And here's the thing, right before the summer started, the week after Aaron got off of school, which was in late May,
Yes.
I said, let's bank a few, let's kind of give ourselves some room. Let's put like a month and a half in between us and the releases, and wouldn't you know it, we lost all of that
Almost immediately.
Yeah. I was thinking, I even said, I was like, this way, in case we can't record for a week or so, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then I got busy, you got busy, and it just
I don't even remember what I was busy with at this point.
work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, work. I was also busy with work and school stuff and things like that. So I found out at the beginning of that month that I needed to get into a master's program.
Yeah.
So very time consuming. Thankfully, I'm at kind of at least a leveling out point. I mean, I'm still going to have to work quite a bit, but I'm in a place where I don't have to do a lot of things all at once right now.
Yes.
So a good place to be. But why don't we go ahead and get into talking about the movie that we are here to talk about? Because, Aaron, we are in the middle of our blockbuster month. We're in the middle of our blockbuster era, Aaron.
Yeah.
You and me, we're in our blockbuster era.
era.
Absolutely. So we are here today talking about the 1981 action adventure classic Raiders of the Lost Ark, or as some Gen Zs probably know it as Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was never part of the title.
I know it is
Raiders of the
both.
Lost Ark. But yes, it's from 1981. It was directed by Steven Spielberg, written by Lawrence Kasdan, based on a story by George Lucas and Philip Kaufman. And it stars Harrison Ford, Karen Allen, Paul Freeman, Ronald Lacey. I'm looking for a name here. John Rhys Davies, Denham Elliott. There we go. And many, many more as well.
I love the casting in this movie.
It's just, obviously, this is one of those movies that most people
have
seen. I don't want to say everyone, because the moment you say that, all of a sudden you meet someone that has never seen The Princess Bride, or something like. I mean,
Heretic.
It's happened. It has happened. If there is anyone that has not seen this movie and instead of watching it you decided to listen to this podcast instead,
you made a mostly good decision.
at least you're listening to the podcast. Yeah. But this film is basically, it follows the character of Indiana Jones, played by Harrison Ford, who is a kind of an archaeologist who goes on adventures, and he gets recruited early on in the film to go after the Ark of the Covenant.
Yes.
Basically just to make sure that the Nazis don't get it.
Yeah.
It's not really about getting it for the States. They don't really care. It's more just about making sure that Hitler doesn't get it.
Yeah.
It's very much based on 30s pulp serials, Alan Quatermain, all of those types of things. It really just kind of harkens back to those types of romantic stories of adventure and exploration, and daring do and things like that. And it is a very fun, well-paced, well-made film.
Yeah.
It is kind of textbook action adventure film.
Yeah.
Lots of films tried to copy this after this came out.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them followed the lessons of Raiders better than others.
Yeah.
Some of them, basically took the wrong lessons and thought, oh, it's all just about the guns and the things like that. And it's like, no, it was like this distillation, because really what Lucas and Spielberg did is they didn't just copy the serials that they saw when they were kids.
Yeah.
They remembered those and they translated them. Basically, they made a movie based on what they remembered those stories to be.
Yes.
Not what they actually were. When we watch things, especially as kids, we remember a very different version of what it is, than what if you watched a lot of the serials, or pulp novels that this type of thing were based on, it probably wouldn't hold up today or even in the 80s when this came out. But putting that child imagination behind it is really what made it work, what really made it fit.
Honestly.
But yeah, so Aaron, obviously you have seen this movie
plenty
before. This is one of those films that you have seen. Do you have any idea when the first time you watched this was?
Probably 10 or a little bit younger.
Okay.
Like most of the movies that people wouldn't have watched as kids, I had watched by that time.
Sure.
And I loved them throughout. Most of them I still love.
Sure. I will say, this movie is actually older than me.
Uh-huh.
But believe it or not, I am not older than dirt. I'm actually a little bit younger than this movie, not by much, but by a little bit. But I will say, when I was maybe around 5 or 6, was when home video really kind of started to take off.
Yeah.
So, even though this movie at that point would have been, 6 years old, it made a big splash when you could then re-release it in theaters and then release it on home video.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember seeing this, I have no idea how old I was because I have memories from when I was like 3 and 4,
Yeah.
or even 2. But I have very early memories of seeing, especially the end of this film.
Oh.
When we watched this all together, your mother commented on the special effects
Yeah.
for it, and we watch it now and they seem a little silly compared to, but when I was a kid, scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
The
for
whole
time.
thing with Ronald Lacey's character, the guy with the hat and the glasses, where his face melts. Like, honestly, I don't really remember anybody else's thing, the head exploding. I remember that face melting, turn to white, turn to red and falling off kind of thing. That was a vivid memory for me as a child. Like, to me, that was the epitome of terrifying visual effects.
Yeah.
And it honestly didn't really lose its charm. And I mean, I think maybe losing its charm is the wrong choice of words, because I think it still has charm. I just appreciate it in a different way. But it retained its horror for me, I will say.
Yes.
For years. Honestly. Like, it really wasn't until like my adulthood that I was really able to look past the idea of the image and just appreciate the effect of the image.
Yeah.
And I see it now, and now anytime I look at any sort of special early special effects, the physical practical special effects, now I'm just reminiscent and I want to say homesick. That's not really the term, but I miss the days when practical effects were the way to go. We'll talk a lot more about that in later films, but yeah, I mean, I just really love the just kind of the texture of this film and how it is done. Is there anything in particular that you really enjoy about this film?
There's so much you could talk about with this.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things that really did stick out to me was definitely Lacey's character, Major Arnold.
Sure.
He just, not only for this style of character, he was perfectly fit I almost said like cartoonishly evil. That's not right. Accurate
it's
Nazi antagonist for
I was
that
about to
story.
Say, it is over the top, but not to comedic effect.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
And it fits it perfectly because it's realistic to a degree with some twist.
Well, because a lot of the other Nazis in this film are very just kind of like they are the epitome of like the proper soldier, and he is the enforcer. Like he's the person that's going to do the horrible things to you.
Yeah.
And he is believable as that. I will say, I'm pretty sure that he either was about to retire or had just retired and like did this film kind of like as a favor.
Oh.
I don't know if he retired after this. No, he did a couple of films after this, but like he almost didn't do this film. And then he does what he does, and
it was great.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely perfect as this. Like I said, like I don't remember any of the other villains from I did as a kid. I didn't remember any of the other villains from this film.
Yeah.
Belloc, I mean, to me,
I didn't care about him.
I mean, I will say, I think that Belloc is actually a very interesting villain because he's basically the evil version of Indy.
Yeah,
you know,
I can see that. I still don't really care about him though.
I mean, I actually really appreciate Paul Freeman as Belloc, but as a kid, the only villain that I remembered was Major Toad. The only one that I knew existed. And so, yeah, I mean, Ronald Lacey, does an admirable job here. And then obviously you've got John Rhys Davies as Sallah. I mean, obviously John Rhys Davies is phenomenal. I will say, obviously this is the early 80s. There is the unfortunate fact that here is a British man playing.
I just looked at that.
An Arab.
I saw that and I was like, wait, what?
I mean, he's kind of in brown face. I mean, it's more in his style of dress than it is his actual like makeup or anything. But, like I said, it's early 80s and it could have been a lot more offensive. They could have, had him really play up the accent. Instead, it's more of like an imperial kind of, he's definitely still using his British and things like that. And so it takes the curse off of it a little bit, but at the same time, it's John Rhys Davies. It's hard not to be enchanted by a John Rhys Davies performance. And he's doing the job he was asked to do. It's not like, he went to the director and said, let me play an Arab. I want to play an Arab. It's just, he needed a job, know? Let's see. Well, and it does actually look like his family moved around in like parts of Africa and stuff like that. So he actually probably knew more about that area of the world than anybody else that they could have cast. So, there's that. Okay. Yeah. His father was a colonial police officer. So that's pretty interesting. I mean, colonialism. But then I will say one of my favorite characters in this film is Karen Allen as Marion Ravenwood. First of all, early crush for me is Karen Allen. Like, just there's just something so interesting about her. I mean, especially in that first scene. I will say I think that she's unfortunately kind of made a bit more like the damsel as we go on. But in that first scene, she's tough. She can drink. She can fight. She can give as good as she gets, and she gets those moments here and there, which I think are what really make her stand out. As Marion. Like I said, unfortunately, she does get relegated to being saved. But even while she's captive, she is actively trying to find ways to, rescue herself. Especially when Indy decides that it's in the best interest to leave her where she is. I mean,
I forgot about that part, and then I watched it and I was like, oh my God, I forgot he does that.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I get what I love about that is that I get both of their sides. Obviously, I understand Marion being pissed.
Yeah, of course.
But at the same time, I also get Indy's side because they've got a lot of important work to do. And if they take her, then they'll start looking for people. And it's going to endanger everything else that they're doing. So it's like, it's a hard decision. I get it. Which honestly, and I mean, I will say just about anything that I've seen Karen Allen in, she brings such an interesting dynamic. She's just such an interesting character, and there's just such a strength to her performance.
She is a
when
very
she's-
strong actor.
Yeah, even when she's made to play more of the damsel stuff in this, there's still kind of that underlying
Strength.
help me, but I can also take care of myself.
Yeah.
You know,
Self-reliance.
Yeah, exactly. But that honestly brings me to something, and I don't know if this is still kind of going around. If you've heard this argument, have you heard the argument that was postulated? It was popularized by The Big Bang Theory, which
The show.
yes,
Okay.
I
never
mean
watched it.
that has honestly done a lot to harm nerd culture, to be honest. But there was the theory going around that basically Indiana Jones was completely inconsequential in his own movie. If he weren't in this, everything that happened would still happen. The Ark would have still ended up with the Nazis. The Nazis still would have died. All of this stuff. Basically, he didn't do anything to to change the plot. And here's my argument for that. Number one, if you think that the most important part of this movie is the Ark, which, by the way, is the MacGuffin. For anybody that is not familiar with that term, the MacGuffin is the name that is given to a plot device that moves things along. It's usually, you know, if it's a film about a bank heist, it's the money. Or it's the thing that starts the action.
You know,
the film is never about that thing, really.
Yeah.
It's just a means to start the action. So if you're for some reason one of those people that thinks that the most important part of this movie is the MacGuffin, you might have some argument. Although I would say, without Indy being there, after the Nazis killed themselves, it might have then been retrieved by more Nazis.
Yeah.
So at the very least, he made sure that it found its way into a secret U.S. lab where it then collected dust. But here's my biggest argument for that. Like I said, if you think that the Ark is the most important, fine. But if you care at all about the characters, especially the character of Marion Ravenwood, Indy serves a very important function, because if he had not been there and interceded in Marion's first scene, Marion, at the very least, would have been abused, if not most likely raped, and then more than likely murdered.
Yeah.
So if you care at all about the character of Marion Ravenwood, Indy is actually very important to this film. So that's a shit argument. Please stop using it.
Well, I think another important thing is the Nazis didn't know where it was. They had been digging in the wrong spot the whole time. Plus, also, Marion had the locator piece.
Right, but the argument is that if Indy hadn't interfered, they would have gotten the original piece from Marion to then dig in the right place. They still would have gotten it. They still would have taken it. They still would have died. But then also Marion would have been died, and she would have been in their custody that whole time. And who knows what was happening to what would have been happening to her at that point.
And if you choose to side with that, you're neglecting basically majority of the characters' roles.
Right.
Which is
right.
Like, why did you come here?
And I mean, some people might argue, well, Marion ended up being captured by them anyway. Yes, but she would have been she would have been in their custody for much longer. Much more could have happened to her in that intervening time. In fact, she might not have even made it to Belloc, because, you know, Major Todt did not seem to have very...
he had no resolve. He did not care.
He was at the very least going to maim her. In that, in her bar. So yeah, in Indy is consequential in the plot. But yeah, is there anything else about this film that you would like to talk about, discuss, rail against?
I don't think so. I
No.
feel like it's the first movie is really fun. It definitely helps because the whole series, the trilogy itself, the first three,
Sure.
the good ones,
And
are an
I would
amazing.
argue to differing extents
Yeah.
there as well. I mean, I will say personally, we're not honestly, you know, a good all of the films that we are reviewing for this month have sequels.
Yeah.
We're not going to end up talking about any of them.
No.
We did consider for one of our films coming up doing it, but unfortunately we just didn't have time.
Yeah.
And so we're not going to be watching any of these others, but personally for this, I think it's hard to argue that Raiders isn't the best film.
Yeah, I honestly kind of see it.
I mean, not to say that one of the others might not be your favorite. I'm just saying, as far as storytelling, filmmaking, character-wise, I think that this is the best.
Yeah.
As objectively as you can possibly be. I think it's objectively the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that honestly kind of sums up what I was going to say. Maybe not that it was objectively the best one, but all of the aspects of like the storytelling,
Sure,
like the filming of it, how it's shot,
it's the
characters.
strongest.
It has the most strengths.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, then let us go ahead and tell people how they can get into contact with us. Of course, you can contact us on all of our socials at The Flying Cow Pod. We are on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, all of those things. You can also email at The Flying Cow Pod at gmail.com. Make sure to check out everything that we've got over there. And once again, our schedule this month is planned.
Yes.
So, the next film that we are going to be reviewing for our blockbusters era is, you want to tell them, Aaron?
Back to the Future.
Dun, 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 dun,
I love this
dun,
movie
dun,
so
dun,
much.
dun, dun, dun. Yeah, it's great. I mean, we will talk about it, but yeah, Back to the Future is one of my all-time favorites. But yes, we will be back next time discussing Back to the Future. But right now, we will see you next time. But until then, moo.